Hello NinjaFit students, instructors, fellow instructors. Welcome back for another video. I'd like to continue on the conversation about teaching focus of your eyes, and this time in a different setting. So when you get to the forms part of your class, how would you address that as an instructor? How would you kind of tie that lesson in? If you've already started talking about focusing their eyes in other classes, then today you just want to approach it from a different way. While you're teaching forms, you want to find a way to bring it up to them and let them know how this can help them out too, right? Focusing their eyes even during this part of the class, and how it can affect them outside of Taekwondo or outside of karate, whatever martial art you're doing. So here's how I approach it in my lessons, right? You've got to teach them, and I've said this before in past videos and in past classes, tons. I've said it to my students: you can't hit a target and you can't block somebody that you can't see. So we start our first move in the very first form as white belts. Even I teach them that your first move is going to your left. You can't just turn and block and whoop, and turn your eyes as you're doing it and just expect to block that bad guy coming, trying to kick you in your belly. You got to see him first. And you got to think about, what does it look like he's getting ready to do? Oh my goodness, looks like he's getting ready to try to hit me in my belly. And then boom, then that's when you can turn and you can react to it, right? You don't just know what everybody's going to do all the time. You see them, you got to take in what they're doing, and you got to think about it and adjust, right? Okay, then you get that first guy, you block him, you knock him out. That's the way our forms work, right, at the first level. Then after I punch him, he's dealt with, he's done with. I've got another opponent all the way on the other side I've got to turn and look at, and I've got to do something for them. I don't know what the move's going to be until I look at them and I see, oh, that guy's trying to kick me in my belly too, so I turn and block. But I don't just know that. I can't come from one direction, turn all the way to the other, and make my eyes and my block move at the same speed. I got to get my eyes around first, right? So that's one way I discuss it when I'm teaching in the classes. They've got to, if they finish with the move over here and their next move's over there, they've got to get their eyes there first before they can react to do their next move. So that's the lesson as I teach it. As far as in forms in class, they can't block someone that they don't know is there. They've got to be looking at that opponent. The fun part about forms is that you can't really get from target drills and warm-ups and stretch kicks, crescent kicks, is that you're dealing with a thought of multiple attackers, right? Not just one person. Unless you're doing an advanced target drill with multiple targets and even different directions, then most people, especially at beginner and intermediate levels, aren't dealing with that. They're dealing with one, maybe two targets, but coming from the same direction. So they're not having to change their focus of their eyes during that drill, right? Here during the form, you've got a chance to do that. You've got a chance to go different directions and think about and put your mind, the visualization inside your mind in that setting. Okay, I've not got just one guy around me, I've got 4 people around me, and they're all serious about trying to hurt me. So how do I get out of this? And then you run through that form, that made up fight sequence in your head. That's another way I kind of explain it to students. Just think about it as a movie fight scene, right? Where you're getting all 4 of those people and working on blocking their techniques and knocking them down. So that's how I address folks in their eyes during the form section. But then how does that relate to life? And you might have other examples that you can think of, but the one that kind of comes to my mind again goes back to goal setting, right? We talked about it in the stretch kicks. I kicked here, I kicked my hand, and I don't just try to keep my hand in that same spot to keep kicking it. I'll keep raising it, right? For self-defense, obviously, as far as real life, the form scenario has a little bit of a real life connection, real easy to see. I get rid of one guy and I knock him out, or I've taken care of that threat, then I've got to look around, I've got to realize what my other threats are. I don't just keep staring at him while there's 3 people around me here trying to hurt me. I've got to move on and address the next person that's coming at me. I've got to keep my eyes aware and be aware of my whole surroundings at the same time. So for self-defense, that kind of seems like a no-brainer to me, just real easy correlation. But as far as life and goal setting, it's the same thing. You can't, or let's just go back to, once you've reached this level, this goal, I've taken care of that guy right there, then I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to another goal. You get to a certain goal in life, job-wise, marriage-wise, life-wise, whatever it is, you got to learn to move past that and say, okay, now what's my next goal? Okay, I got married. That's awesome. What's my next goal to do with my wife? What's our next? Are we going to try to start a family? Are we going to try to travel the world? What's our next goal to do as a couple? We've already reached this goal now, this level. What do we do now? What's next for us? Are we looking to grow old and retire together? Or what's the next thing we can shoot for in our life cycle? So something like that is what I talk to the students about. Kids, adults versus whatever it is you got. Try to find a way to make these lessons correlate with life. And a lot of it kind of can go back to goal setting as far as when it comes to focus, but you might find other examples that hit home with you that you can kind of explain even better. If you do, I'd love to see comments about it below at the video. Subscribe to my YouTube page and leave me some messages up there on the YouTube or on my Facebook page. Please, just let me know, and I'd love to see more and have different ways and steal thoughts from other instructors. That way I've got new, fresh ways to approach this with my students. So I hope this helps you out, and I hope this helps you learn how to teach focusing their eyes in a different setting during your classes. Thanks.